everyone, it's Aurora and welcome back to the channel, or welcome if you are new. Right, I am an ex-copywriter turned fiction writer from the UK and I am currently working on what I'm hoping will be my debut novel. Right, before we get started, a couple of notes. One, there will be spoilers in this. There will be spoilers for Highgate Wood, the podcast, which came out earlier this year. There will be spoilers for Uncle Silas by Sheridan Le Fanu, which is quite old. And there will be spoilers for The Wizard of Oz by L. Frank Baum. More, I think, the film, because it's been donkey years since I read the book. Again, quite old. But, you know, spoiler warnings anyway. Feels fair. The other thing is, you might hear the wind blowing. Just ignore it. I'm gonna. We'll just say it's vibes, because we're going to be talking about ghost stories a bit. And also, you might hear some scratchings and little weird noises. That is my partner's bearded dragon. He is chilling in his Viv next to me. And yeah, right, that said, I think we should get on with this. Let me set the scene. It is the heat wave. I am suffering from heat stroke, even though I try and stay out of the sun. You know, I like to protect the old tattoos, but the heat got to me, as it has quite a few of us. Right. I decided that since I wasn't going to get anything done, I was going to listen to a podcast I've been meaning to listen to for a couple of months now. So I'm laying in bed, and you know what? This is Highgate Wood, so we're getting into the Highgate Wood spoilers here. It was, yeah, it was short. I listened to it in an afternoon, and it was so good. Like, the dialogue's really well written. The idea is really, really fun. It's all set up around a part of London I used to live in. And yeah, it was well voice acted, was thoroughly enjoying it. Oh, by the way, the music, because it's about a band. They're a bit like, oh, what are they called? Fleetwood Mac, right? It's a sort of Fleetwood Mac style band. There was a fire. Their keyboard player did not survive the fire, and it's all about that. And the daughter of one of the musicians who went missing after this happened, she's the one doing the podcast. And yeah, great premise, right? I feel we can agree that does sound quite cool. It was so good right up until it really wasn't, and I'm still kind of mad at it. And yeah, so what went wrong, right? Okay. It just, in the very end, and here's the major spoiler, there was no ghost, really. There was no hauntings. There was no thing. She had a breakdown. She had a little mini breakdown, and she's fine now. It's all gone. It's all done. Whatever. That was it. I mean, all right, there was a bit more. There was this take that she felt, but the thing is to just go, it was all in my head. It's not great, is it? It's lazy writing. One, it is using mental health in a really lazy way. To have it was just a small breakdown. You were hallucinating. It's not small. It makes what people go through look like, well, nothing. And it made them, if we go by that theory, it also made them look dangerous. People who have breakdowns, I mean, and hallucinating. Look, yeah, it doesn't, I'm not saying everyone with a mental health issue is safe and fluffy and wonderful, but statistically we're way more likely to get hurt by people who aren't. There's a whole other thing, and I'm actually going to talk about it next week. So yeah, it just felt lazy. It was just like, it wasn't real in your world, and it's not even real in this fictional world. Done. It's lazy. Really lazy, and because it was so good and I was having so much fun, I was actually offended by how lazy that ending felt. Look, it is done as she's doing this podcast about her dad's band, and she didn't know her dad, by the way, and that's important because he wasn't mad either, it turned out. He was just really hurt by things that had happened, and you get into all that, but the thing is, for her to be like, oh yeah, no, she was bonkers. What? And I say this as a fully paid up member of the mental illness club here. You know, I've more than paid my dues. I've got my PTSD. I've got suspected this. I was misdiagnosed. It's a whole thing. But look, to just go, it was nothing. It was just a little thing. You know, little breakdown. You did not have a little breakdown, for one thing. I get it, within like the confines of the podcast as a setting, it's not easy. It's a difficult landing to stick, but that wasn't it. You know, like at all. I was genuine. I was so annoyed because the other thing was to just go, had a breakdown. Only a small one, it's fine. It just ripped massive holes in the plot that now suddenly this really cool plot just looked like a load of fishnet. And I wear a lot of fishnet. I know what I'm looking at. It was really frustratingly bad. So, off the back of this, I talked about this with my friend. I went to see him a few days later, and he was just like, yeah, he got a bit weird. I was like, are we all right there, dude? And he's like, yeah, this is really uncomfortable for me. Now, I've got permission to tell this story, by the way. He had, he's written a book, and he sent it off to thing, and editors looked at it, and he's had notes back. And his notes were basically what I had said about this thing of like, you've completely blown the ending. And they was like, yeah, they seem pretty mad at me. Here's the thing, you don't stick the landing, your readers, your listeners, whatever, they're gonna be mad. You know, it's gonna frustrate them because you've just wasted their time, or at least they feel their time has been wasted. Honestly, this feels like my Game of Thrones. Oh, Highgate Wood is definitely my Game of Thrones at this point. You know, I'm still mad at that ending. But yeah, he was just told he had to do this whole rewrite basically to make the ending stick, because what happened was you've established these rules for the world that there is, you know, someone who has talked to Hun the Hunter. There is ghosts. Yeah, cool. No, there's not. It's just a breakdown. You've broken all these rules, and it felt like there was that. I was waiting to hear the ghosts come in or something, and it would have made a lot more sense to have ghosts, quite frankly, and for what had happened in Highgate Wood that night to all have been real. And with Highgate Wood as well. So it's all set up around Highgate Wood too. Yeah, it did. It just felt like the rules of the world were just thrown out. And you can't do that when you tell a story. When you establish rules for a world or whatever, it's all part world building. You've got to stick with them. And, you know, going, oh no, we're just going to throw this whole thing in. I mean, some writers get away with it. You know, there's nothing wrong with a twist ending. And I'm not saying twist endings are bad. And, do you know something? Maybe if there had been more than just just had a little breakdown, it would have been a better ending. But that was all I was given. Like, yeah, I had a little bit of a breakdown, but it's fine. Didn't have to, like, you know, do anything mad about it. Like, don't do anything big about it. And it's like, none of this makes sense. And my friend had a similar issue that he'd broken the rules he'd established to tell the ending, and it just didn't work. And it made them frustrated. And here's the risk that you take as a writer of any medium, right? I mean, poetry less so, I guess, and like songwriting. But, you know, when you're storytelling, if you don't stick the landing and you break all the rules to have an ending, like especially a lazy one like that, and it's essentially the equivalent of, it was all a dream. The problem becomes, I don't want to read anything else written by these people. I don't want to listen to anything else that these writers have done, because God, I'm disappointed with that ending. Now, I was originally going to talk about Within the Wires Series 6, because that deals with the Fae, and a lot of people didn't feel like that landing really stuck. But honestly, it didn't quite fit for this story. But I will say this, as a big fan of that show, that ending was so bad, and I didn't feel like it stuck for me in very different ways, that I did stop listening to it. And I never really got back into it, even though each series is a standalone. So yeah, like, this is the risk you take. You don't stick the landing, you lose readers, you lose listeners, whatever. And it's not always easy to get a good story, and when you are confined in a medium like, you know, it's borderline on found footage. It's not really found footage, because, you know, they are putting it out into the world, but they are still like, no, I made this podcast and I'm putting it out into the world. You are limited by what they can do with, you know, a person made a podcast. I still think there was stuff they could have done. But, you know, it's not my story. I'm not going to sit here and say how it should be told. Now, I've waffled enough. Let's get to the other thing of balance. What about when these tropes are done well, of it was all in their head or it was all a dream? Because it can stick as a landing. As much as I was told, do not use "it was all a dream" when storytelling. It can work. Hear me out on this. We're going to get to that. But first we're going to talk about "it was all in the head," because that's been the primary thing of this video, right? Uncle Silas, the protagonist, does think she's being haunted. She isn't. She's being convinced of that by people who want her money, by relatives who want her inheritance. And it's not just treated as this little line that goes, oh yeah, all in my head, whatever. It's a big reveal, and it should be a big something is causing this. It's not just like a throw it out there for funsies, or just as a, well, had to find a way to wrap this one up. You go into the why, and that's the important part. You know why she's gone this way. You know why she thinks she's being haunted. You know why she thinks she's, going like losing her marbles or going mad, or however you want to word it. I will say this as someone who has been slightly divorced from reality at the best of times. I do not get offended by a certain language, and it just doesn't bother me, because honestly it's just words at the end of the day. It's nastiness behind it, and I don't say it with malice. So look, there's that. But this, again, I think that's more for next week. What I will say is, it's just the fact that they go into it. It's not just thrown out. It's not lazy storytelling. And finally, the one we're going to end on is "it was all a dream." Why does it work for The Wizard of Oz? Dorothy wakes up, she's in bed, you were there, and you were there, but you didn't look like that. The thing is, she was already going home. She was already clicking her little heels together and saying there's no place like home. So to wake up and actually be there didn't matter that much. All she had wanted since she got to Oz was to get out and to be home and to be with her family and to be with the people who loved her. So to wake up there and be like, oh my God, it was all a dream. No, it's fine. It's fine. But she still learned from what happened. She's still like, I'm just grateful to be here. I'm just glad I am here. So it still works. It keeps with the message of the story of there's no place like home, because she is just so happy and relieved to be there. So it still works. Right, now I'm going to put it out to you. If you liked this video, by the way, do give it a like. Comments though, do let me know of a it was all in their head or it was all a dream where it works for you. Or in fact, let's just join in on the ranting and tell me about a time where it really annoyed you too. Because I know it drives me wild. Right, and that said, do give me a subscribe if you have not subscribed already, because it hugely helps out the channel. And I will see you again next week. Take care, guys. Bye.